Hello techies! Welcome to our brand new video series focused on helping you get the most of your experiences in life. Before we start the video, let's know about Upptalk. Upptalk is a live, interactive platform for software training, furnishing robust personalities who could take on universal business platforms.
Okay, only those operations will be captured when you're selecting as a delete history. Complete history means what? When you're selecting complete history specifies that if this option is selected, then if you're making some changes, any updation other than the delete operation, also, whatever the changes which we are making, that every changes will be captured in the history, in the audit information. And that will help us to take the audit report. Okay, if you're selecting the complete history. So in a real time, when you see MDF Version History, by default it will be selected as a delete history. So what is the other options? If the customer asks, we can able to explain to them. Okay. That is the meaning of MDF Version History. Then default screen. There is nothing major into it, label, we know whatever. Yeah, anything. Yeah. This MDF version history is like a log for this business unit, for example, exactly. So okay, where can we exactly whatever in the report center, from the report center, we need to go and create a report. Okay, so from the report center, when we complete the training, so in that reporting tool, I will also tell you how to create a report. So when you want to go and create a report for the audit, also, we have an option for creating the report for the audits. So there we can able to go and create the reports. So, whatever the changes has done time to time, who has made the changes? When they have made the changes, everything will be extracted. The data will be extracted with the help of the report. Okay. So that is about the MDF version history. Then default screen. We don't have any major importance. Label. We can see whatever label we are specifying. Description also, we can ignore it. API Subversion also. We can ignore it. We are only focusing on some important tabs here. Subject, user field also, we can able to ignore it. Although these are not mandatory fields, but some fields we can ignore, some fields we can see the usage of the field will be there. So we are. Another field is workflow routing. Okay. So when you go into the workflow routing, what is the purpose of workflow routing? So whenever a end user, is making some changes in the MDF, object those changes. So now, when I am going here into the manage data and I am going and making some changes, click on the save option. Okay. So it will get saved, but the customer don't want it should be saved automatically. Whenever you are making some correction, it should route to a approval process and from there, the approval has to approve it. Once the approver has to be approved. Once the approver approve it, then the changes has to be saved automatically. If that is the scenario, then there should be a workflow which has to be created in that workflow. We should have an approval. But when we will create a workflow to trigger a workflow when the changes has to be done. The workflow has to be assigned somewhere. Okay for the MDF object. So where the workflow will be assigned in the configure object definition. In the configure object definition. When we go and see in the workflow routing whatever the workflow which is being created, those workflow will be assigned here in the workflow. Okay. So workflow is also a foundation object. So when we start with the discussion of the workflow, we will see how the workflow is being created. So workflow is a process where we can able to go and create multiple layers of approvals. Okay, when this action is happening and when the workflow is getting triggering, the request will be sent to the first level of approval. He has to approve it, that it will go to the second level. It will go to a third level. If that is the scenario, we will go and create it. But triggering of the workflow and sending a notification will only happen when you assign that workflow. So in the case of any MDF object change or creation, if the user is making, then if the workflow is connected, the workflow has to be assigned to the workflow. Is it clear? Yes. Now, when the workflow is being assigned to the workflow, we will see here. So every workflow will be having an approval. So when the notification will be sent to when the change request will be sent to the approval. So, then, the approval has to approve it. Then only the changes will be updated in the managed data. Okay, if that is the scenario, then we also need to keep the pending data as yes. The option as yes. It indicates that pending data is connected with the workflow routing. So if you have a workflow routing and if you have kept the pending data as yes, then mandatorily that change has to be approved from the approver. Then only that will be updated in the system. But if you are selecting as no means what, irrespective of the approver, if the approver is selected, then it is declined, those changes also. Still, it has to be updated in the system. Then we will keep this. If that is the scenario, then we will keep this as no. Okay, so something if the data updates can be made. Okay. I mean to say that the updates can be made without any approval. So if the approval is, if there is no approval with the help of the workflow, then in that case we will be setting the field as no. Okay. So that is the reason pending data is connected with the workflow. Okay, although it is not a mandatory field, but when you go here by default, it will be kept as yes. And, if there is some workflow, we can assign the workflow in the workflow. Okay. Is it clear? Yes. Then, when the workflow is been up, when the workflow notification will be sent. It can be sent with the help of an email also, and it will be sent to the homepage. So in the homepage it will be displaying in the to-do category that is showing as a by default. Okay. So nothing, we have to do it here. So this is all about all the fields here which we have discussed. So coming into the another section, that is, the field section. So when you come into the field section, we have certain columns that is named database, field name. That is nothing but the standard name which is being created by the vertical SAP. That will be showing in the name and database field name. Then you have a length here. So maximum length is 255. Okay. So under to maximum 255 or below 255, whatever number you want to take for creating the field, you can able to take that length. Okay. So that is being prescribed by SAP. Okay, but beyond 255, as of now, it is not being prescribed by SAP. Okay. So that is about the maximum length coming into the data type. When you come into the data type, as I told you, the purpose of data type is to give the behavior of that particular field. Okay. So what is the purpose of that particular field that defines the data type? Okay, so you can see here, for every field there will be some data types, okay, and these data types are the standard one. This is not the custom one. This is by default. It is coming here from SAP side. In the future, also if they are deprecating some,
Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us at sales@upptalk.com.